General Hospital will reveal interesting facts of the week from April 28th to May 2nd. First, Carly Spencer's heart raced as she entered the sterile, cold halls of the hospital in Los Angeles. Her mind was racing just as fast, thoughts of Sonny filling every inch of her being. She had to save him. The woman she loved had fallen victim to a vicious plot, and now she was rushing to his side, fearing it might already be too late. The nurse who had been caring for Sonny had turned out to be a fraud, someone with far more sinister intentions. Carly's pulse quickened as she made her way down the hallway, knowing time was running out. When she reached Sonny's room, the sight of him lying unconscious sent a shockwave of dread through her. His chest was still, and his breathing shallow. The woman who had been pretending to care for him was nowhere to be found. Carly's heart sank for a moment, but she couldn't afford to panic. She needed to act quickly. Searching the room for any sign of the nurse's departure, Carly felt a surge of determination. She was going to find out who was behind this and make them pay, no matter the cost. As Carly scoured the room, she stumbled upon a piece of information that would change everything. Colette Moreau, a name she never expected to hear in this context, was implicated. Carly's mind reeled as she processed the revelation. Colette had always been a figure on the periphery, someone who operated in the shadows, but never in a way that made Carly suspect her of something so nefarious. To think that Colette could be behind such a plot, to think that she might be the one who orchestrated Sonny's near death, was a bitter pill to swallow. But Carly knew she couldn't ignore the facts. She needed answers, and Colette was the key. The discovery sent Carly into a whirlwind of suspicion. She had to confront Brennan, a man who was just as tangled up in this mess as anyone. Carly had always trusted Brennan to some extent, but now, with Colette's name in the mix, her trust was shaken to its core. She knew Brennan had his own dark secrets, and the thought that he might have helped facilitate this plot gnawed at her. Carly couldn't let Brennan off the hook. She had to know if he was the one who had supplied Colette with the tools to carry out her deadly plan. The question hung heavy in the air: was Brennan complicit in this conspiracy, or was he just another pawn in a much larger game? Brennan tried to deny any involvement, but Carly wasn't buying it. Her instincts told her that something wasn't right. She had known Brennan long enough to see the cracks in his facade, and today, those cracks were widening. As they sat across from each other, Carly pressed him, demanding to know the truth. She needed to know whether he had been in on the plan to harm Sonny, and she needed that confirmation now. Brennan's nervous fidgeting, the way he avoided her gaze, only made Carly more certain that there was something he wasn't telling her. She pushed harder, determined to find the answers, knowing that the fate of Sonny's survival depended on it. The conversation with Brennan didn't provide the clarity Carly hoped for, but it only deepened her suspicion. Brennan's protestations of innocence felt hollow in the face of the mounting evidence. Colette was too close to this situation, and Brennan had too many ties to people involved in the criminal underworld. Carly wasn't ready to let him go, not until she got the answers she needed. She would press him again, harder this time, until he cracked, until the full extent of the conspiracy was revealed. She couldn't afford to be lenient, not when Sonny's life hung in the balance. Meanwhile, Sonny was fighting for his life. The surgery was delicate, the doctors working tirelessly to stabilize him after the traumatic ordeal he had just survived. The road to recovery would be long, but there was hope. Carly stayed by his side, her presence a constant reminder that he wasn't alone in this fight. She knew that Sonny's recovery wouldn't just be physical. The emotional scars of what had happened would take time to heal, and she would be there every step of the way. They had been through so much together, but this was different. This was a battle for survival, and Carly wasn't about to lose the man she loved. As Sonny's condition slowly improved, Carly found herself torn between relief and the overwhelming weight of what lay ahead. She couldn't ignore the dark clouds looming over them. The truth about Colette's involvement, and Brennan's potential role in this sinister plot, still hung over her like a shadow. Carly knew that nothing would be truly resolved until those responsible were brought to justice. But for now, she focused on Sonny, on the man who had always been her rock, and she vowed to do whatever it took to protect him from whatever threats still lurked in the shadows. Second, as Kai Taylor prepares for his risky surgery, there's an undeniable sense of tension in the air. His heart pounds with anticipation, knowing that this surgery is his last chance at regaining control over his life. But before he faces the operating table, Kai finds himself in a deeply emotional encounter with Trina Robinson. Their connection has always been charged with underlying tension, but now, as the prospect of Kai's surgery looms large, their bond intensifies. In the quiet moments before the life-changing procedure, Trina and Kai share passionate, heartfelt moments, with their chemistry undeniable. These scenes are raw and intimate, as they cling to each other in a desperate need for comfort and solace before the uncertainty of the future. However, as much as their physical connection brings them closer, there is an air of sorrow that cannot be ignored. While they find solace in one another's arms, both of them are fully aware of the stakes. Kai knows that this surgery could either restore his life or plunge him into a darker, more painful reality. The uncertainty of his future hangs over them like a storm cloud. Will the surgery truly give him the second chance he's hoping for, or will it take away what little control he still has over his body and his life? The emotional weight of this question makes every moment with Trina feel all the more precious, yet all the more fragile. For Kai, this surgery represents more than just a medical procedure, it's a gamble with his future. He has expressed optimism, even confidence, that the operation will bring positive changes to his life. But deep down, he knows the risks are just as high, if not higher. If the surgery fails, it could leave him in a worse state, with the possibility of permanent paralysis haunting him. The very thought of losing everything he's worked for, his independence, his future, is something he cannot easily shake. Yet, he also understands that without taking this risk, he may never have a chance at walking again. Despite the swirling uncertainty, Kai finds strength in his connection with Trina. She's a constant presence in his life, offering him emotional support and the courage he needs to face what's ahead. Their relationship, while tender and filled with undeniable chemistry, also carries an undercurrent of fear. They both know that this surgery could very well define the course of Kai's life forever. And as much as Kai tries to keep his emotions in check, the weight of the unknown is something he cannot ignore. Trina, too, is grappling with her own set of emotions, fear, love, and hope. Watching someone you care deeply about face such a monumental challenge is never easy, and for Trina, it feels as though the stakes have never been higher. Kai's upcoming surgery looms like a sword over their heads, and while they try to live in the present, the uncertainty of the future is always just a thought away. Will Kai walk again? Will his life ever return to normal? These questions hang over them both, unresolved and heavy. But for now, Trina and Kai hold on to each other, knowing that the bond they share may be the only thing that helps them survive whatever comes next. It's a moment of bittersweet affection, with both of them fully aware that the road ahead will not be easy, but it is a road they will face together, no matter the outcome. Third, Lulu Spencer had carried the weight of her feelings for Dante Falconeri for years, a love that had never fully disappeared, despite the passage of time and the complications in their lives. When she finally confessed her long-standing love for him, it stirred a storm of emotions within both of them. Dante, though he had tried to move forward with his life, couldn't deny the history he shared with Lulu, and her words reopened old wounds. It was clear that their connection was far from over, but both of them had changed. Lulu's revelation left Dante caught between his past feelings for her and the present life he was building with someone else. It was a moment of truth that neither one of them was ready for, and the tension was palpable, threatening to unravel the delicate balance they had tried so hard to maintain. As if the situation wasn't complicated enough, Brook Lynn Quartermain found herself dragged into the mess. She had a secret that she had managed to keep hidden for a long time. The child she had put up for adoption was Dante's. Lulu, now aware of this secret, held a powerful card in her hand. Brook Lynn feared that if Lulu decided to expose the truth, it would shatter everything, her relationship with Dante, her reputation, and the carefully constructed world she had been trying to protect. It wasn't just about the child, it was about the tangled emotions and the years of deception that had come with keeping the truth hidden. Lyn's fear grew as Lulu's resolve to make her feelings known intensified, and the possibility of Lulu using her knowledge against her became all too real. Lulu, for her part, knew that revealing Lyn's secret could change everything, but she wasn't sure if she would go that far. The power of knowing such a significant piece of information was not lost on her, but it also made her feel conflicted. On one hand, she felt betrayed by the secret, but on the other, she realized that it wasn't her place to destroy the fragile relationships that everyone had worked so hard to build. The struggle within Lulu was intense. Her own unresolved feelings for Dante made the situation even more complicated, but she didn't want to be the catalyst for causing more pain, even though the temptation to act on her knowledge was always there. The looming possibility of the truth about Dante's child being exposed created a tense, volatile environment. Lynn tried desperately to keep control of the situation, knowing that if Lulu made the secret public, it would have consequences far beyond what either woman could anticipate. At the same time, Lulu was grappling with the fallout of her confession. While she had hoped that Dante would reciprocate her feelings, the reality of the situation began to sink in. Her admission had stirred emotions in Dante, but it also put a strain on their already complicated dynamic. Neither one of them knew what to do with the feelings that had resurfaced, and the path forward was shrouded in uncertainty. As the pressure mounted, Dante found himself stuck between two women, both of whom held important places in his heart, yet both of whom were now at odds with each other. The weight of Lulu's confession, coupled with the potential revelation of the secret about his child, left him in a place where no decision seemed right. He had to navigate a delicate balance between his loyalty to his current relationship and the unresolved emotions from his past with Lulu. The possibility that everything could come crashing down, his relationships, his family, and his future, was a constant, looming presence. What started as a simple confession of love had spiraled into a web of secrets, betrayal, and emotions, with no clear resolution in sight. Finally, at another part of Port Charles, Jocelyn was on a mission. Determined to prove herself and step into a more influential role, she set her sights on earning a coveted research assistant position under the mentorship of Professor Henry Dalton. His reputation had caught her eye, and she knew that securing a spot in his research lab would open doors to new opportunities. But Jocelyn wasn't the only one vying for his attention. Emma Scorpio Drake, aware of the professional dynamics between them, wasn't going to let Jocelyn take the lead without a fight. Emma's loyalty to her own academic ambitions was fierce, and she couldn't let anyone, especially Jocelyn, swoop in and steal what she felt was rightfully hers. Tensions between the two young women were sure to rise, as both were determined to outshine the other in a competition that would test their patience and resolve. Meanwhile, Christina was facing a storm of emotions that had her reeling. The latest discovery she made about her family's financial dealings was nothing short of explosive. Her world was rocked when she uncovered a shocking conspiracy involving Ava and Rick Lansing. As her investigation unraveled, Christina came face to face with the devastating truth. Ava and Rick had been secretly collaborating to blackmail her mother, Alexis. The realization that Ava, someone Christina had once tried to trust, had betrayed her family in such a vicious manner, ignited a fiery rage within her. She couldn't believe that Ava, a woman she had been manipulated into thinking was trustworthy, had stooped so low as to exploit Alexis' vulnerabilities for personal gain. Christina's emotions shifted violently between anger and confusion as she processed what she had uncovered. The betrayal was so personal, so deeply intertwined with the family she loved, that it felt like a gut punch. How could Rick, her own family, have allowed themselves to be a part of such a cruel scheme? Christina's fury grew as she thought about her mother, who had always worked tirelessly to maintain the family's integrity and reputation. To see her own flesh and blood participate in something so underhanded was an emotional blow that would not easily heal. With her anger boiling over, Christina vowed to confront Ava and Rick, determined to bring justice to her mother and expose the truth for everyone to see. She wouldn't let this betrayal slide unnoticed. The tension surrounding the blackmail plot was poised to bring more chaos to Port Charles in the days to come. As the week of April 28 to May 2 unfolded, the spoilers hinted at even more dramatic developments. Christina, now fully aware of the dark alliance between Ava and Rick, would not let them off the hook easily. Her fury at their actions would only grow, and her determination to protect her mother from further harm would push her to take bold and decisive action. Meanwhile, Jocelyn's ongoing struggle to gain Professor Dalton's favor would create its own share of complications, adding to the already explosive atmosphere. The drama in Port Charles was about to reach new heights, with each character facing emotional crossroads and explosive revelations that would leave everyone questioning their loyalties and their next moves. As the pieces of this intricate puzzle continued to fall into place, one thing was certain: chaos was inevitable. The intertwining lives of these characters, with their complicated relationships, betrayals, and secrets, would soon explode into a whirlwind of confrontation, revelation, and emotional upheaval. What would the aftermath look like, and who would emerge victorious? The coming week promised to be a roller coaster ride of drama, and fans of General Hospital were bracing themselves for the storm that was about to hit. Stay tuned for the latest updates on all the twists and turns of this ever-evolving story.